guys, it's Don Cito here, and today also, hold on, don't copy this tune. This is not tuned. This video is about showing y'all how to tune your own car on a 100 adhesion or any adhesion, like the matters. But yeah, don't copy this tune yet. I'm gonna make another tune video, but yes, just don't copy this tune, please, because it's not tuned at all. You guys want to be, why is car trash? Nah, bro, because it's not tuned. But yeah, I made this delivery a while back. You know, it looks pretty decent. I was gonna like take it out, but I might have to keep it on for the video. But yeah. Alright, so for front spring length and rear spring length, it's basically the height of your car. It adjusts the height. See how this car gets taller and it gets lower? Basically, it makes your car higher or tall, which actually affects the car's handle. And as you can see here, it actually tells you front spring stiffness and rear spring stiffness is in the name. It also raises the car in the air. You see, the softer it is, the suspension is softer. The lower the number, the softer it is. The higher the number, the stiffer it is. For when you tune in your cars, you want to find a medium balance. For me, I usually put it to 20. From like 100 to 20. I go higher sometimes for some cars no. But yeah. Here, for 100 adhesion personally, I run 30 profile, which for me it gives me more grip, so I can run low tire pressure. aka KPA. You can like search up on Google like a calculator, like yeah, you can like change it up a bit. This, to be honest, I don't know what this is, like I don't know how to explain it, but like basically all these are basically this, but more fine tuning. So basically, the higher the value, it makes it stiffer. So like if you hit a bump, dang, I don't know how to explain it. It's like damper. It's like the dampers of the car. When you hit bumps, if it's gonna like absorb it hard, like have you ever been in a car with coilovers and you hit a bump, it's all stiff, and like you've been in another car that's with coilovers but it's kind of softer? Yeah, it's basically this. That's what this is what this from here to here is basically is. This is more like bigger, like I can leave this like this, tune this and that, and the tune will be fine. I just fine tune this to, you know, get the car better. You know, this for me, like I usually just put it to 40, but this like negative 20 or close enough. So like negative, like if it's negative, hold up, I gotta get to an angle right here. If it's negative, it's actually toe out. Like alright, if you look at your feet, if you put your feet pointing outwards, that's toe out, and you put your feet pointing inwards, that's toe in. Toe out will make it like less stable. Well, not less stable, but like how do I say it? How do I explain it actually? It makes the car more like it wants to turn, like really quickly turn, and toe in basically makes it more faster and more stable. For me, I just run like 40 degrees of toe in the front and like negative 20 of toe out in the back. That's what I usually run. But like in real life, they usually like run a square setup in the back of the car. Like for drifting, they run like a square setup in the back, like no, like neutral everything. So yeah, like as close as you can get it, you'll be fine. Alright, so camber. Positive, so negative camber, you know it's negative. You see that's negative camber. Positive camber is this. You don't really want positive camber, because when you take turns, you won't be able to take turns. See how the camber is like this? When you take a turn, all the body will go, and one side will actually give more traction to the front. For drift cars, you want more camber in the front than in the back. The back, you want it more of a square setup, so you can have as much grip as possible. Usually, I keep it like between 2 to like 1.80, 1.90, like around here. I don't go higher than that, unless I'm making like a show car, but this is what I usually run. If it, for the front, it's between like 40, or it depends on the car. Hold up. I'm kind of going all over the place, but yeah, front wheel track is basically like how, you know, this, the wheels are in or the wheels are out. Same thing with the rear. I'm gonna just push them out so you can see the camber. Yeah, you can run this amount of camber, or you can run like 7 degrees of camber if you want. Like if you go over here, I think it's not needed, but for this car, possibly like you gotta run this amount of camber. Anti-roll bar, basically, is in the name. When you turn in a car, have you ever been in a car and you took a turn too fast? You feel all the weight going to one side? That's basically what anti-roll bar is. The stiffer it is, it will prevent the body from rolling over. You want it to roll over so you can take, you know, turns, but you don't want it too soft that it's like you can take turns. If you're drifting, you can have the back stiffer than the front. Me, I usually have it squared, like a square setup, like 40-40. That's my base. Sometimes I go 30-30, 37-37, or like 40 in the front, 45 in the back, depending on the car. Every car is different. They react the same, but every car, you know, is like different weight balance and shit. So like usually I put it at 40 at most of my cars, cause it'll give it some body roll, but not too much. Max steering angle is basically like a full lock. When you turn your wheel lock to lock, you can have less, as you can see, or more. Caster. It basically affects, you know, right there, it affects the road surface, but like if you're gonna go more in depth, I don't know a lot about a caster, but like I know like most cars, like in real life that's factory, is like around 7 degrees of caster. It's like, you know, when you turn the steering wheel of your car and let go and it just recenters, that's what caster is. Basically. I usually have it at 10. Just cause. Ackerman. Alright, let's go. Let's go here. We go to 0. You see how the left wheel has more angle? Hold up. You see this wheel, right? You see how it's not turning in a lot, but this wheel is? That's what Ackerman affects. Let me bring it back to 100. When it's at 100, Ackerman, basically when you turn the wheel, the left side is turning in at this much. You see how much, like at max steering angle is at, like at full lock, is at the same degrees over here. If you have it at 0, wherever you're turning at, the wheel, like if you turn in left, this wheel is gonna have more angle this way than this wheel. Me, I usually have it between 30 to 27 as to start off. Sometimes I go lower. It depends on the car. Like this car, the longer the car is, like you won't spin out that much. Like a shorter car, a small car will spin out more, so you want lower Ackerman. And Ackerman actually gives you more steering angle also, so it helps you turn. So maybe we just lower this car right here, lower the front end, lower the rear end. Probably like 25, because like this car is kind of weird. Yeah, right there. I'm gonna fine tune this. I gotta drive. Usually, like if I don't know, like I haven't tuned this car, I'll just like keep this like this, drive the car, then be like, okay, this needs some work. And also, when you lower a car, it gives it more camber, because you know you're lowering the car. When you raise the car, it, you know, like the camber goes away to more to positive camber. I was gonna say 90, but it's gonna be more camber, but that's pretty good. Front end, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. But yeah, basically, that's what sums these up. So front rim diameter and rear rim diameter. It's how big the wheel is. If I go smaller, it gets smaller. If I go bigger, it gets bigger. Like that. Some cars come factory with 19-inch wheels, 17, 18, 16, etc. So basically, if you see a drag car, the back tires usually have smaller rims in the front. I don't know how to actually say it. It's so you can fit a bigger profile tire, which will wrinkle, which will give you more grip for acceleration. And also, it affects your top speed too. As you see the engine, the top speed is 264. If I raise this, 275, 285. It affects the top speed. But remember, when you tune the transmission and you keep banging the limiter, you can just change the the rim diameter, and you probably get more top speed or more acceleration. Alright. And also tire profile actually affects it, actually, to be honest. 254. See, so also you don't even need to mess with the rim diameter. You can just mess with tire profile, which basically, you know, it's how thick the tire is. Wheel adhesion is what type of it's wheel or it's tire compound. It's like a street tire, you know, like a regular street tire you find in a car. This tire is like a it's more of a performance tire, but you still can use it in the street, and this is like a semi-suck. I personally like use heavy adhesion. I don't use 90 adhesion because it's like it's basically used tires. Like the tires like no good, as you can see. You know, it's like beat up tires, which I won't really use. That's my personal opinion. I like 100 adhesion, but I also use 120 and 110. but a person using 100 adhesion. And you know, front wheel track I already told you about. Okay, the tire width is how wide a tire width is. You see how skinny the tire gets and how wide the tire is. It basically affects your acceleration. Usually by principle, the more wider the tire, the more thread compact patch is on the floor, the more grip you'll have. This can also mess with your top speed, your acceleration, the grip of your car, and yeah. Sometimes it's like for drift cars they run like a stagger setup, probably 265 in the back, 285 in the front, or vice versa. Or they'll run like this power was like at most I'll go 285 unless I have to go 225. But for this car it's staying at 265. So front tire pressure and rear tire pressure. So the higher the tire pressure, you won't have as much grip as running low tire pressure. So 200 kPa is like 30 psi. For 100 adhesion, you want the front tire pressure higher than the rear and very low so you can have enough grip. For 110 and 120 is different. It's like the rear higher than the front because you have so much grip. I don't know. That's how I tune my cars on different adhesions. But yeah. So usually some cars you gotta run a higher tire pressure, because like you know, you don't have a lot of horsepower, so you need more. You can't have that much grip or it'll bog out. Usually it just depends on the car. Like this is just starting PSI. Like this is just like standard PSI. You can start off with this, but usually like for me when I'm tuning, I bring it down to like 150, which is like I know like 190 is like in the I don't remember. Fully, I don't remember 100%, but I just know it's like I'm on 20 PSI. I think if I remember. I usually start off lower, and actually lowers the car, but gives you more grip. So engine is pretty obvious. Tune up is like you know. Baseline, like you know, a little baseline brings the power. Max torque is the RPM. Is basically how. Hold up. I'll talk about this after I talk about this. So rev limiter is how high can you rev. So at 8,000 RPM, you know when you're like driving carx, the car goes when you're on the gear. That's the RPM. When you raise RPM, you get more horsepower. You lower the RPM, you get less horsepower. I recommend you not going 6,800 RPM because you won't have a lot of gearing. The car will not feel, it'll feel sluggish. I recommend you raising the RPM because with a higher RPM, you get a higher top speed, as you can see, because you can stay in a certain gear longer. And like a car that revs higher is easier to tune, personally. Basically, this is the torque curve of the car. I could make the torque curve come in lighter, like over here, like earlier in the RPM range, or more later. Me, I raise it higher because I like having my car as a bang limiter and staying above, like on high RPM usually, because like when you're drifting, you usually on high RPM. But you can have the torque curve coming early, coming like basically if I want like my peak torque to be at 4,500 RPM, I can have it right there, or 5,145 RPM if I want my peak torque. I have it higher because I usually rev it higher. Turbocharger is pretty obvious. You can have it off so the car could be NA. I recommend having it on because you can't really drift 380. I mean, in real life, you can drift 380 horsepower like nothing. In this video game though, it's kind of a pain. I tried it. It feels weird. But you want turbo on, and turbo air pressure is how much boost you're running. The lower it is, you're not gonna make a lot of power. The higher it is, you're gonna make the max power, like 790 horsepower. That's why I turn everything up, because like I want my car to be competitive and fast. So diff locking ratio is like, it's a differential. If it's at 1, it's gonna lock up a lot, which will make your car get sideways easier. If you have it at 0, it's gonna be open differential. So you basically go do like, have you ever seen like someone doing a burnout in a car, and like when they go out, like drive off, it's like one burnt tire mark? That's basically what open differential is. And there's certain car LSDs, which is not open differential, but like it locks both wheels up and you know evenly distribute the power. Or in real life, if you don't have the money, you can just borrow the diff, which is it just clunks and stuff. So final drive is basically it adjusts everything. Like once you get the gear in like a close gear transmission, like super close, you can adjust this basically. Like I can tune this however I want, but the final drive is gonna either give me a lot of top speed yes, I kind of forgot my video. My videos don't last long because I kind of changing settings, so you might see a transition really quickly up to this point. But yeah, the final drive, if I go higher, you get a more acceleration. The lower you go, you get less acceleration. Same with the gears. It's the same principle. This changes it a lot. Brake torque is how hard the brake is. So if I hit the brakes, if the torque is higher, it's gonna stop stronger, and the less brake torque you know, the brakes are not as strong. Front brake the brake bias is like, when I put it at 70, most of the brakes go to the front. If I put it like over here at 0, like over here, most of it is in the back, or like, you know, like on no brakes. 50 is it's the middle. Like usually, like when I tune my car, is 70. It's like 70% brake bias, like my standard. ABS, you can run it, but I usually don't run it. Basically, ABS is anti-lock system, anti-lock braking system, which means is with ABS on, you can slam the brakes, it won't lock. With it off, you're gonna lock up the brakes. Launch control tandems, it doesn't like. Launch control tandems doesn't like do nothing in free roam. Like if you're in multiplayer, just drift around. If you're doing like, as I said, XDS tandem drift, like you're going against a player, you can launch the car without spinning the tires. I have it off because you can moderate the throttle. So yeah, that's basically what the tuning in this game is. Basically, like in like simple standards. So basically this is basically this, but more fine-tuned. You know, yeah. So that's the reason why like drift cars have more camera in the front and less camera in the back. You can get as much grip in the back. In the front, you know, you want max lock. But that's basically what Ackerman is. As you can see right here, hold up. I gotta get a good angle. Hold up, I gotta get a good angle. Hold up. Because like right here, you ain't gonna see the difference. See this wheel? How it's like that? And you see how it gets like that? And that's even. When right here, see how that wheel, hold on, right there. Look at this wheel. You see how it gets more angle? And you see how this wheel gets less angle. You see how it gets less angle? That's basically which wheel gets more angle. Basically, you want it like around here. You can run 0 Ackerman, like it depends on you, but you can run like, usually people will run like from 30 to 27, probably 25, 20. Or like me, sometimes I go down to 15. I'd never go down to 0. If I have to go down to 0, then like, you know, adjust tire pressure for more grip in the front end. But yeah, that's basically what it is. So yeah, don't copy this tune. Just letting you know, this tune is not. The car's not even tuned. I'm just, you know, doing my baseline stuff. So if you say this tune's trash, it's just, you just copied it, bro. You know, yeah. But yeah, you might see a transition in the middle of the video, like, yo, why did it transition? Because the video clip kind of ended. I gotta edit why. I gotta figure out why. But yeah, I have to do that. So basically, that's what the tuner in this game is. You drive the car and you just fine tune it. Like, oh damn, I need more gearing. You add more gearing. Damn, I need more grip. You add more grip. Damn, I got a little tire pressure. You lower tire pressure. It's like, tuning is pretty easy. You just gotta drive the car. And also, I'm gonna give you a tip for tuning. Parking A is a good place to start tuning your cars. Just the thing about parking A is there's not a lot of room. You can't go as fast as possible. You don't know if you can hold a lot of angle. As you see, this tune is literally trash. You see, this is trash. So yeah, so after, like, if the car feels good in parking A, just good. 360 reverse entry is good. Just go to like East Tollgate or Cami Road. Like maps that is very popular in West Coast, and just see the car. If the car feels good, or you see it needs some tuning, go back, retune it, and the tune's basically good. So I don't tune just in one map. I tune this map mostly, then I go to other maps and I come back and tune. But yeah, so that's me teaching you how to tune, and also leave a like and subscribe. Don't copy the tune, please. I'm gonna drop a tune for this car. Don't worry about it, but yeah, that's basically what tuning in this game is. It's pretty simple once you get the hang of it. Other than that, peace, guys.